where politics over the Kannada language and Kannada pride is continuing to escalate. The Kannada Development Authority has now urged the Karnataka Health Minister Dinesh Gundu to issue an order making it mandatory for all doctors who work in all government health centres and hospitals to write prescriptions in Kannada. Now, in a letter submitted to the Karnataka government, the KDA chairperson has highlighted that making Kannada mandatory for writing prescriptions will be a crucial step towards safeguarding Karnataka's cultural and linguistic identity. This comes after the agitation by Kannada groups over commercial signages and even the legislative push by the Siddaramaiah government for Kannada quota in the private sector, which of course was later on put on hold after a lot of criticism from the industry. So the question is this latest proposal by the Kannada Development Authority an impractical one, especially in a city like Bengaluru, which is cosmopolitan? There are people from all parts of the country who live and work there and have done so for a number of years. And most importantly, doctors in government hospitals in the state are not necessarily from that state. There could be doctors who are from outside the state. There could be doctors who don't know how to write Kannada. So is this an impractical demand? But first, the story.
My humble request is at least write patient's name in Kannada. Now if you go to Bihar, they write it in Hindi. If you go to Madurai, they write it in Tamil. Then what's the problem of writing in Kannada in Karnataka?
What is wrong in it? It's an administrative language. So mother tongue is very important. People understand that. That will be in a simplified way. They'll know what kind of drugs are being given to them and all other things. Nothing wrong in it.
All right, quick face-off on the program tonight. Lakshmi Ashwin Gowda is spokesperson of the BJP. Sudhindra MG is spokesperson of the Congress Party. Mr. Sudhindra, you know, this is an impractical demand. I live in a place called Noida, which is a satellite city of Delhi. It's in the National Capital Region, in a state called Uttar Pradesh. I go to a doctor. The doctor does not write prescription to me in Hindi. So to say that all doctors in all government hospitals should write in Kannada is an absolutely impractical demand.
See, first let me make one thing very clear. What the KDA chairman has requested is only sent as a suggestion that, you know, to have an inclusive approach. And especially in rural places, for all the doctors to make the write the prescriptions in Kannada. It is just a request, and the person who has done this request, Professor William Male, he himself is a very renowned scholar. I mean, even the best of BJP or any party should not contest the kind of capacity or the kind of scholarly this thing that this person possesses. So it is just a suggestion. Our health minister, Shri Dinesh Gundu is very well equipped. He himself is very learned man. He has a very good set of people around him. Then he will definitely consult all the stakeholders.
No, but the problem, sir, is that this is not, Mr. Sudhindra. This is not a case in isolation. This is now the prescription for doctors should be in Kannada. You know, we had this whole case about the signage. 60% of the signage should be in Kannada. Again, it was mandated, and all shops, commercial establishments had to do that. Then this whole controversy about, reservation in the private sector for locals, Kannada-speaking people. Again, it was shelved because of a huge blowback from industry. So step by step, one by one, the state there is trying to push the envelope to see what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. So to say that this is just a humble request, I don't think that's quite accurate.
As far as the reservation in the private job sector is concerned, it is a part of the Karnataka language bill, which was passed just before polls by the BJP. They knew they couldn't implement it. They just passed it with about 10-15 days before the announcement of the election. They just wanted to prove a point before the election.
But you put it in cold storage. You put that proposal of reservation in cold storage after, of course, industry backlash.
The very same people who have passed, now they are coming out and they are opposing the same very.
No, forget about BJP. Forget about BJP. So, industry opposed.
What I am trying to say, this issue is blown out of proportion. It is a small suggestion given by a KDA. See, this suggestion by the KDA chairman is not binding on anybody.
Okay.
Neither the government.
No, it
nor the
starts
health
off as a
minister, nor
recommendation,
anybody.
then it becomes a law. But let me ask Lakshmi Gowda. It's not like the BJP also is opposing this, ma'am. I mean, like Mr. Sudhindra said, you also passed the bill in the assembly when you were in power just before the election. So it's not like you are opposed to this whole impractical idea of writing prescriptions in Kannada.
Sir, since all the medical terminologies or all the medical prescriptions are not entirely translated into Kannada, as they've suggested by the KDA chairman, to write the prescription in Kannada is an ill thought out one, and it will only lead to preposterous inconveniences and also the lots of miscommunications. Since a health sector is a sensitive sector, and since it is making, and he is advising them to implement in all the government institute, government hospitals, community health centers, primary health centers. Basically, their patients are a very poor background. Any attempt to do with writing, any attempt to compel that to write in Kannada will only lead to lots of inconveniences to the poor patients, and it is not a practically implementable one. Rather than doing all these things, if they really want to conserve and protect the identity or cultural identity of the Kannada language, they must rise above the party politics, because to preserve land, language, and other issues, water issues, everyone should rise above their party politics.
No, but their contention, ma'am, is that when you were in power in the state, you did nothing to promote the language. In fact, they have made you out to be a Hindi party, a North Indian party. So they are contrasting that with whatever they are doing now in power, promoting the local language.
Yeah, it is an agenda which is being propagated and disseminated by the so-called the high command of the Congress party, Mr. Rahul Gandhi ji. By being in a constitutional position, he is spreading all the misinformation and all false things about his own motherland and his own country. A person who cannot respect the who cannot respect his country is really an embarrassment and a burden to the country.
Please stop.
He is rather implementing.
This is not what you need to answer.
Parochial things, mindless things, about India. His envy, his frustration, his discontentment, his jealousy towards our legendary and visionary leadership of Mr. Modi ji is only reflecting in his
Mr. Sudhindra, even the health minister was asked this. The health minister was asked about this prescriptions being written in Kannada, and he says if a doctor knows Kannada, then he or she can be encouraged to write in Kannada. However, making it mandatory does not seem practical. So even he understands that this is not a practical solution.
Yes. See, we are not claiming it is a law. Neither are we claiming that the suggestion by the KDA chairman is binding on the government or on the health minister. So where is all this controversy coming from? And we did not take lessons from BJP on promoting Kannada, because it was they who imposed Hindi. Congress believes in promoting all Indian languages, including Kannada, rather than imposing one language.
No, but how exactly, Mr. Sudhindra, how exactly did they impose Hindi when Mr. Bommai was chief minister? Can you elaborate?
In the last budget, central budget, Sanskrit, the language Sanskrit for its development was given 630 crores. Well, Kannada.
I'm asking you, when Mr. Bommai's government, the BJP government in Karnataka. Mr. Sudhindra, the previous BJP government under Mr. Basavaraj Bommai, when they were in power, how did they impose Hindi and de-promote Kannada? Please give me an example.
See, the funds that they were allotted for Kannada and its development never came through. And the official funds allotted, like I said, the Sanskrit was allotted 640 crores, while Kannada was allotted 3 crores for the center. Same BJP government. This is what
that's at the center. You're not even understanding the question I'm asking. When Mr. Bommai of the BJP was chief minister in Karnataka, how did they de-promote Kannada?
26 MPs to the Lok Sabha. So what is the use of Kannada people electing so many BJP MPs last time? Show me one. Let the BJP spokesman highlight one issue on this. We have got this. We brought the signage board issue to the fore. We asked for a regional identity. We asked for a separate flag so that our regional Kannada culture and this thing can be. Name one thing that the BJP has propagated to
Okay,
develop
Lakshmi
Kannada
Gowda,
or its culture.
please respond. They at least
Let
got the
them come- let
signage
them come
going.
with one.
The flag was recognized when the Congress was in power. So what is the one thing that BJP has done to promote Kannada?
Sir, to promote our language, we have done many things. To promote our Karnataka identity, we have done many things. See, rather than using Kannada in prescribing medical prescriptions or doing something, they should actually improve the medical infrastructure, and they should actually improve the infrastructural bottlenecks that is existing. They should actually fill in the manpower. Since he is simply accusing us of doing or not doing anything for promoting Kannada or Karnataka, we have done many things to improve Karnataka. We have done many things to improve Karnataka's health sector. We have improved our health sector in terms of our medical indicators like maternal mortality rate, child mortality rate have been improved. And we
No,
have
ma'am,
been.
but how does that promote
is all
Kannada
development
language?
subject.
Ma'am, how
Let us
does
get the
that promote
statistics and
Kannada
decide on
language?
what actually,
That's the
how much
question.
mortality or other
that
things have come down during
Mohaiji
your
has
period.
made
Please don't
has
mix
made
up.
from 1
Please
to
don't
6
mix
the
up. It is only
Kannada.
about language. It is only
Yeah,
about
let her
language.
respond. Let her
has
respond.
been made.
Let her respond. Yeah.
Kannada has been made the mandatory language, first language from 1 to 6 standard. He has proposed that. Even before it was get implemented, we could not implement. But he has proposed that.
Exactly.
We were
When
actually
did you
we
pass
had
that
the
bill?
political will
15
to do
days
that.
before the election.
We had a political will to do the Kannada a mandatory first language.
Okay.
That kind of political will we had.
All right, I'll wrap it up at that. Let's see how this plays out. This might be an innocuous suggestion by the chairman of the Kannada Development Authority, but if you take this whole business of language parochialism to an extreme, like we've seen in the case of, for example, reservation in the private sector, then what it ends up doing is A, it's anti-constitutional because the Constitution allows you to live and work wherever you want in this country, but more importantly, the idea of India is also being played around with if you say that only people who speak a certain way, dress a certain way, eat a certain way will be allowed in certain states. That it just goes against the idea of India. That's a wrap of Brass Tacks. Thanks very much for joining us. I'll catch you again tomorrow night, same time. Good night.